Hi everyone, I'm Julie Lindsay and I'm here with my colleague and friend Lisa Jacker, and we want to tell you about the AI Pedagogy Project that we've developed across the last 2 to 3 years at the University of Southern Queensland. So to get started, the AIPP, as we call it, it's a grassroots digital initiative embracing really all aspects of AI for learning and teaching. And it came about because, there was a bit of fear factor, of course, in higher education. What is this AI? How do we use it? How are students going to use it to support learning? How are students not going to use it for plagiarism? And we wanted to really put a positive spin on this. So we wanted this AIPP to encourage ideas, to be able to share practice and innovation across disciplines amongst staff. So it's a ubiquitous online, largely asynchronous approach to academic development.
And over the 2 years that we've been doing AIPP, we've had 300 or more staff members across most disciplines involved with the project, both academic staff and professional staff. And this is actually quite a significant amount of our community. We have about 800 academic staff at UniSQ at the moment. And when we think about delivering it, we're thinking more about participation because we've taken a flat learning approach. And what happens is the Learning and Teaching Futures team, of which we are a part of, we provide opportunities for the community to contribute. We set times and the tone and bring along ideas, provocations and activities, but it's the community who contributes to the direction and the actual learning.
And really, Lisa, the support has been both local and global, with program leaders at UniSQ, lots of curious staff coming along, especially during the evolution of AI. We've had global thought leaders and communities that we interact with in different places, different situations. And it's really about that sharing and collaboration, including organisations like GIST from the UK we've interacted with.
And I think a lot of this comes from the fact that our activities and resources are open to the public, so anybody can access it at any time.
And really, you talked about this being open and flat learning, and it's not us leading from the top, and it reminds me of a quote. As Nelson Mandela said, "It is better to lead from behind and to put others in front." Looking at the theoretical background, we're very aware as we work with academics across the university, being in the central unit, many of the staff don't have an educational theory background. So as part of this AIPP, we are influenced, and we do talk about Wenger's community of practice. We highlight constructivist approaches. We also share contemporary scholars exploring AI in education.
Also, we've been disseminating what we do through presentations and writing, and we were identified in the EduCause Horizon Report for 2025 for faculty development in Gen AI. So looking at how AIPP actually works, we have these 5 interconnected elements that sit within the overall structure of AIPP, which has allowed us to explore AI in a variety of contexts and to be really flexible in relation to what our staff needs are. So, Julie, we're very hands-on in what we do, aren't we? And I'm kind of thinking about what elements we really like doing and what our staff have enjoyed doing with us. So what's one of your favourites?
Well, I think as part of what we do, I really like getting my hands on the tools and exploring. Tools like Synthesia for video making, tools like chatbot creation tools, Gen AI, Cogniti is something we've been piloting. And I'd like to create things and share them with others and inspire others to have a go. But at the same time, I also like to dig deeper into the pedagogical application. How does AI work in terms of applying it to learning and teaching? And how can we be creative in our approaches to assessment? I find this very rewarding.
And I've always really liked the AI Learning and Teaching Collective that we have, because that's really where it started and what AIPP grew out of. We deliberately didn't call it a community of practice because we felt that, names do matter, and we wanted people to come together to learn collectively. So we meet online synchronously on a fairly regular basis, maybe once a month, We come together, but we also provide resources asynchronously. And when we looked into the asynchronous resources and how many people were accessing those, we were quite surprised at the level of buy-in we were getting in these spaces. So I think this highlights for us the multifaceted approach that provides opportunities for participation anytime and anywhere. And that moves us into really what academic development is about from our point of view. Evolving from conversations and feedback through specific projects that the academics identify, and that then we've seen the results of the engagement in an increase of things like learning and teaching grants in AI and participation in our pilots, such as the Cognitive one that we're currently undertaking.
One of the questions with these types of projects that permeate across a university is what makes it distinctive, how has it grown, and what has been the impact. And I think this project, as we say, has grown legs because of our responsiveness to contextual UniSQ needs. It hasn't been mandated, it hasn't been from above saying, oh, you will now create this and make sure everyone comes. No, it has been organic adoption, peer collaboration, very much interdisciplinary, which I think everyone has benefited from. The point is, we don't academically develop colleagues. This is our approach. They do it themselves because we give them the opportunity to do it.
And I think that is fundamentally what makes this distinct in terms of academic development projects, because generally, as you say, we would be telling academics what to do and they would come along to what that is that we're deeming is appropriate for them to do. And what we're seeing is that staff are willingly participating and for intrinsic value. They're not getting badges, they're not getting promoted, they're not being told they have to do this. So that's really where we feel that we've had impact and where we're distinctive. And what we've observed is what we like to think of as a ripple effect. In order to describe this best practice a little bit, we need people to also think about how what we do in the centre feeds out into multiple places that we don't always see. So Julie, how would you describe our practice?
I think the word flexible really stands out to me. Flexible in design of how we provide situations and opportunities for people to discuss and share. Openness, collaborative, and of course we model what it is to be connected and engaged.
I think that modelling is really an important feature of seeing that academic practice, how it can change. So we're actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk. I think this flows into the co-design aspect. It's not just the synchronous sessions in which the conversations are driven by the community, but also in the connection between staff and students to develop the pedagogical use of AI. And Julie, I think you've got a good example you can tell us a bit more about.
Yes, look, the resource that we developed for the start of the 2025 year that we call AI Power Up, Supercharge Your Learning, was a collaboration between stakeholders across the university. The challenge was, how do we upskill our students and of course our staff heading into 2025 and have a consistent voice? There was some rumblings about students don't know what to do. Some academics are telling them to do this, some are telling them to do that. What's the base level that we want all of our students to know and understand? So we got together and built this resource. It was a collaborative development, just-in-time resource, and we've built it so that it's generic enough for easy updating. It's interactive. We have videos using the AI tool Synthesia. We have H5P interactions in there. And of course, we will need to update it because the UniSQ approach to using AI for assessment is changing slightly for 2026. So that part of the resource will have to be updated, but it's just there waiting for us to do it and to launch it again.
In terms of actually seeing our impact, as I mentioned before, we talked about the ripple effect. So we don't always see where the impact ends up. And I think this is in some ways specific to things like academic development, where it can be difficult to see that impact, whether it's across the university or actually across the sector. One of the main things, other than actually, meeting targets and having numbers and seeing how many people do certain things or attend certain things, is actually getting that feedback from the people who are part of our community. And so it really fills our hearts with joy when we're able to see feedback from people like one of our associate heads say that the AIPP gave them confidence to be able to lead strategies in their school.
Another academic shared with us that they gained both pedagogical insight and practical confidence in embedding AI. I also like this one, and that the AIPP has created a vibrant culture of innovation, curiosity, and collaboration. And I think, Lisa, that really says it all.
I think that's definitely where we're heading. That's one of our aims. And so to get that feedback really makes us feel like we've actually had some impact.